The 2026 World Cup is looming just over the horizon, and honestly, you can forget literally everything you know about this tournament. The rules of engagement have completely changed. We're setting the stage for what's going to be the most chaotic, dramatic, and just wide-open football war we've ever seen.
48. Just let that number sink in for a second. Expanding from 32 to 48 teams means this isn't just a tournament anymore. It is a massive, unpredictable battlefield. You're looking at way more games, way more variables, and a brutal physical and mental toll. Absolute chaos is basically guaranteed.
So in a bloodbath like this, who actually takes the crown? Look, we're skipping the boring, standard top 10 countdowns today. Instead, we're breaking the absolute best squads on the planet down into some incredibly dramatic tiers of destiny. We're gonna find out who survives the chaos and, well, who crumbles under the pressure. Let's get into it.
Moving right into Tier 1 sleepers and home soil heroes. Okay, here's your ultimate recipe for danger. You've got the USA riding this massive momentum. I mean, think about the pure adrenaline of playing on home soil in front of just roaring, desperate fans. And the Netherlands, just sheer aggressive physicality. The catch, though, the US lacks knockout experience. In fact, the Dutch are your absolute classic sleeping giants here. They've tasted the deep waters, right? Finals in 2010, semis in 2014 and 2022. They know this treacherous path better than anyone, and they are so ready to ruin a favorite's day. Literally, do not blink when they're on the pitch.
Which naturally brings us to a massive, looming question. Can the historic European heavyweights actually rebuild their empires and take back the throne?
He simply cannot ignore these rebuilding giants. Germany is suddenly looking hungry, totally organized, and terrifyingly dangerous again. Spain, they're passing teams to death, riding high as those technically brilliant Nations League champions. And Portugal has somehow evolved into this multi-headed monster with a terrifying crop of young attackers.
But it's really a clash of fatal flaws with these guys. Spain plays this beautiful, exhausting football, but they kind of lack that ruthless killer striker to just plunge the dagger in. And Germany, well, they have the tactical structure, but they are battling some massive psychological demons and real knockout anxiety after their recent disasters. It's basically beauty without a bite, going up against structure paralyzed by fear.
And hey, let's not forget Portugal. Yes, Cristiano Ronaldo is incredibly still playing at a high level, but the real story here is how that veteran experience is perfectly meshing with the individual attacking quality from the younger guys. It makes them an absolute menace. Sure, their weakness is sometimes relying way too heavily on big moments from those stars, but in a knockout situation, one moment of magic is literally all it takes to send a tournament favorite packing.
All right, on to Tier 3, brilliant but doomed.
Oh man, grab your drinks for this one, because this is the ultimate sports bar debate. We're talking about the two squads carrying the most agonizing, mind-bending pressure on the planet. On one side, you have England. Physicality, technical quality, terrifying set pieces, but a legendary, almost tragic history of completely freezing into knockouts. And on the other side, Brazil, the most magical, destructive flair in history, but weighed down by, quite frankly, shocking defensive chaos. It's the rigid team that chokes versus the magical team that leaks.
But listen, here is the absolute cardinal rule of international football. You never, ever count Brazil out. They consistently produce these individual game changers who will single-handedly rip your defense to shreds. When Brazil dances, the rest of the world holds its breath, right?
And now, the absolute summit. Tier 4, the Heavyweight Kings.
We've reached the final bosses, guys. Let's talk about insane squad depth. France is so ridiculously, absurdly talented that they can literally lose half their starters to injury, pull kids off the bench, and still look like world beaters alongside a peak Kylian Mbappe. Honestly, their biggest weakness is probably just getting bored on the pitch.
Meanwhile, over on the other side of the globe, the defending champions are gearing up. And get this, Lionel Messi will be 39 years old when this tournament kicks off. 39! Yet, he is somehow still out there creating pure, undeniable magic.
And look, here is exactly why Argentina is still the absolute team to beat. They have a completely balanced squad, a fiercely aggressive defense, a midfield that seems to create out of thin air, and incredibly clinical attackers. But most importantly, they have that raw 2022 winning mentality. They know the pressure cooker, and for me, that makes them the slight favorites.
Which brings us to the ultimate prediction.
So let's just lay all our cards on the table right now. If you are looking for a dark horse to make a deep, truly shocking run all the way to the semis, put your money on Spain's suffocating, beautiful play, or the United States riding that massive, roaring wave of home soil momentum.
But when the dust finally settles on this totally unprecedented 48-team battlefield, I'm predicting an epic, blood-pumping heavyweight clash, France versus Argentina. And in that dying moment, I really believe Argentina's pure, battle-tested winning mentality is going to just barely edge out France's monstrous depth. It is going to be absolute cinema.
But hey, that's just how the history and the data stack up to me. Now I want to hear from you guys. Are we getting an Argentina repeat, or is a sleeping giant going to ruin my entire bracket and steal the crown? Drop your prediction in the comments below, especially if you think I'm dead wrong about England or Brazil. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.